So fixing the skinny fat physique is definitely more difficult than just losing body fat on its own or just exclusively gaining muscle. And the reason for this is quite simple. If you've got skinny fat, you're lacking both muscle and size, and you also have an abundance of body fat that you don't want on your physique. So it kind of makes you think, well, okay, cool, I'll just go on a diet then. And if you go on a diet, you're going to get smaller, weaker. You kind of have to go backwards before you go forwards, and it can be a little bit annoying, right? So most men that are skinny fat, depending on how much body fat they've got in their physique, might jump straight into a bulk. And then they start to gain size, they gain a little bit of body fat, and they might get to a point where all those areas they didn't like when they were skinny fat, they still don't like, and it's now gotten worse. And then they have this big behemoth of a cut they need to do at the end of it. So it kind of puts you in this like purgatory of, do you cut, do you bulk, do you try and do both at once? But then there's that phrase of, if you chase two rabbits, you catch neither one. And a lot of men just sort of go to the gym, cut out the bad foods, eat chicken, broccoli and rice, take their creatine, take their pre-workouts, take the protein shakes, and all this stuff's well and good. It's not wrong, is it? But it's not necessarily going to get someone that's got a skinny fat physique to the goal that they want. And if you're watching this video, you probably fit into that category. So I want to make this video to help you with your skinny fat physique. And one of the biggest, most important ways to do that is getting your diet right first. Now, over the past few years, I've helped over 100 skinny fat men lose their body fat and build muscle. Some have to lose the fat first and then gain muscle. Some have done both at the same time, right? Despite my intro, there are possible ways to go about it, which is the whole reason I'm making this video. So what is that magic diet that these guys have followed to be able to lose body fat and gain muscle? There's no shortage of absolute bullcrap advice. And depending on who you watch, you may or may not believe them. And it's very easy to trust someone because they've got a great physique. But a lot of people that have great physiques have a great physique anyway. So they go to the gym and they can say, hey, here's how I built my chest, even though it's massive. It's the equivalent of a girl with a really big ass going, oh, here's how I built my ass, guys. And they already had it. So it's genetics. So it can be a little bit difficult to know who to trust. Now, that doesn't mean, oh, hey, because I said that, trust me. Oh, yeah, bro. Look, I'm just going to give you the exact things that I've done to help these 100 men lose their body fat and gain muscle. You know, I'm not going to say this is the only way. I'm not going to say, oh, trust me because I said so, because I don't like that approach. I just want to go, hey, here's something I've learned. This has worked really, really well. And I want to pass it on to you to help you on your skinny fat journey. So anyway, let's cut straight to it. What is the diet that these guys are following? Is it magical? Is it carnivore? Is it keto? Is it high carb, low carb? What is it? Boring answer, bro. They're tracking their calories, right? And I know you've heard that before. I'm sick of saying it, to be honest with you. But tracking your calories, why is that important, especially for a skinny fat physique? Now, the reason it's really important for a skinny fat physique is, let me just break it down. We're trying to lose body fat and we want to gain muscle. Now, as you know, you can't really do both at the same time unless good genetics. You know, you've got newbie gains and it's your first few years in the gym, so you've still got that potential muscle growth. But for most men that have been trying to fix their skinny fat physique, they've already been in the gym a little while and they've already been eating the right kind of foods and they've just not really got anywhere, which means they have a lot of untapped potential. They haven't necessarily trained with the right plan, trained long enough, consistently enough, or even put in enough effort long enough to see those results. So what that means is there's still quite a lot of untapped potential. So they're still kind of got a little bit of newbie gains. So if you've got a lot of newbie gains and you've got some half decent genetics, if you were to start with a body recomposition, which is kind of like a cut, right? But what do you think when you think cut? You think, right, massive calorie deficit, drop the calories down, low carb, bro, you know, no cheat meals. Everyone just goes to extreme. They just yeet their calories right down to 800, 1200, just really super low calories. And the problem with that is it will last for a little while. You think, yeah, this is great. The scale weight's coming down. You're depleting yourself of carbs. So you lose like 10 kilos and you think, wow, this is amazing. And then suddenly you feel like shit. The workouts suck. Your body aches. You feel like crap. You're starting to crave sugar, even though you might not even like it. And guess what? You either binge and fall off, or you keep having all these cheat meals and, you know, starve yourself, put it back in, starve yourself, put it back in. So a recomposition is losing body fat and gaining muscle, obviously. But to achieve that, we want a small calorie deficit. Instead of, 1,000 calorie deficit, 2,000 calorie deficit, massively below your body's maintenance, we want somewhere between 300, 500, a small calorie deficit. So you're losing somewhere between half a pound to a pound per week. Now, the reason that's really applicable to a skinny fat physique is if your calories aren't too low, you can still have enough calories to get good energy, good performance, good overload in the gym. If you're quite new, then you can still add a lot of strength and weight, which will also help you gain muscle if you're getting enough protein within those calories. If the calories are crazy low, like I said before, you're very much likely to go catabolic and lose muscle tissue. But if you have a smaller calorie deficit, it's less likely to happen. And if you're getting stronger in the gym and you're hitting your protein, your recovery and everything's great, then you're quite likely to lose pure body fat and keep as much muscle, if not gain it. Now, sounds silly, and me back in the day, I would have watched this video and go, that is absolute bullshit, because, I struggled to gain muscle even with a surplus, right? But, client Reese here, he lost all of his body fat and gained all this muscle, and he actually went down on weight and then up on the scales near the end. all within a calorie deficit, which is crazy, right? But I've experienced it. I've done that with him before. Has he got the best genetics? Hell no. Has he got bad genetics? Not really. Do you know what I mean? It's very much an individual basis. I don't like all these fit guys out here going, yeah, bro, oh, you don't need to bulk, bro. You don't need to do this. I did it this way. This is how I did it. Yeah, it worked for you. That's survivor's biased. You know, it worked for you, it might not work for other people. All the advice I was told when I was younger just didn't work for me because I wasn't eating enough, I wasn't training enough, and I wasn't progressing enough, whereas someone else could take that advice and it might work for them, right? Everyone's different. We need different strategies to get the results we want. So starting off, we would go with a recomposition. And when I talk about recomposition, that's why the diet is so important. The magic diet these guys followed was just tracking it and hitting a slight calorie deficit. Now, with that slight calorie deficit, they were also eating very, very high protein, right? And I say very high, it's subjective, isn't it? So if they weighed 200 pounds, we might go for 200 grams, right? You could argue, oh, it's supposed to be 0.7 grams per pound, or it's supposed to be lean body weight. It doesn't need to be that precise. You just need to eat a significant amount of protein. And if you find that your strength and gains start to drop, then you can always increase it. Again, everyone's different. There are basic rules of thumbs, but they're not absolutes. So anyway, how can you know your numbers? Now, I have put a free nutritional blueprint in the bio so that you can download that and just work it out from scratch, right? You can use an online calculator if you want to. I find they're somewhat accurate. They don't normally factor in, you know, how much body fat you've got, what your actual goal is, what your training is. So in that nutritional blueprint, there's the exact equations that I use for my clients. And then it also gives you some advice to set up your macros accordingly and how to adjust them. But either way, you need to know those numbers, and I advise you track your calories. Now, with my clients, some clients want to improve their health and they want to eat healthier food. So they might hit their calorie target, you know, 90% whole foods, not processed, and have a little bit of room for like a sweet treat or something, right? Or a beer on a weekend, whatever it might be. Some clients, right? Like my old client Luke, for example, he's like, look, mate, I love food, I like drinking, I love Guinness, I am not giving those up, but can I still lose some body fat and build some muscle? And it's definitely harder. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, eat ice cream, bro, you get shredded. But he made it fit his calories. He still hit his protein target, and he, you know, spent his calories accordingly. He was still able to go out, spend time with his now fiance, go on holidays, have plenty of Guinnesses, and still lose body fat and look great and feel great, right? It's always down to the individual. There's no, oh, you have to do carnivore. Oh, you have to do keto. And I'm not even saying those diets don't work. And the reason they work, which is very common sense, is they're cutting out carbs. They're cutting out a whole food group that most people are eating 50% of. You know, you look at the average person's food, it's like 50% carbs, sometimes more, 60, 70% carbs, right? So if you cut that out, look how many calories are low, right? So you're going to lose weight because you're in a massive calorie deficit anyway. And then because you're cutting out carbs, you're going to deplete yourself of glycogen. So a lot of that scale droppage that people see when they go on carnivore or keto isn't even fat loss. It's mainly carbohydrate depletion, then eventually fat loss. And then normally they get problems with their cholesterol, or they get ill, or they feel like shite. It might work for some people. I'm not here to tell you what you can and can't do. But what I am doing is trying to give you as much helpful advice to fix the skinny fat physique as possible by starting with the most important thing, and that is getting those calories right. Small calorie deficit, high protein. Now, yes, those numbers will get adjusted over time. Yes, you need to train accordingly to stimulate that physique. But I really kind of wanted to tackle the diet side of things in this video because there's so much misinformation out there. There's so many people that have great genetics and just go, oh, I did carnivore and I feel great. So then you're going to think, right, I'll do that then. And you might feel like crap and think, well, what's wrong with me? And it's like, oh, but that guy took steroids, or he had genetics, or he's already in shape. So he already had a lot of muscle. So it was easy for him to lose body fat. Use that guide to help you out. If you don't want to download my guide, you can go on Google, search for information, figure out your calories, put yourself in a 300 to 500 calorie deficit. Train 1 to 3 times per week with good heavy resistance, track the lot and adjust it, and you will see great results. If you're skinny fat and you're taking advice from someone that isn't skinny fat or hasn't fixed skinny fat, the chances are they might be giving you just blanket statement advice that might not work. So I hope this video helps. If for some reason you still need more help, or you want to have, you know, the exact same thing these guys had to lose their body fat and gain muscle, you can work with me one-to-one. I have a call link in the bio. There's not always spaces available, I'll be honest with you, but it depends on what time of the year you're watching this video. We can jump on a quick call and see if I can help you out. If you have any questions, you can drop a comment or follow me on Instagram at Elite Transformation Project. And yeah, I wish you the best of luck with your skinny fat journey. And if there's something I can help you with, don't hesitate to drop a comment or ask. Peace.